Chosen one, you did not arrive at this moment by accident. There is a reason your spirit feels stirred, a reason your thoughts keep circling back to that one presence, that one name, that one energy you cannot ignore. You may have tried to dismiss it, to rationalize it, to push it aside as coincidence or confusion. But deep down, something in you knows this is different. Something in you recognizes that J did not enter your life randomly. There is intention behind it. There is purpose behind it. And whether you are ready or not, something within you is already beginning to change. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Not every person who crosses your path is meant to stay, but every person carries a message. And J was sent not to complete you, not to save you, but to awaken something in you that had been sleeping for far too long. You were comfortable before, weren't you? Moving through life in patterns that felt familiar, even if they weren't fulfilling. You had built walls, routines, emotional habits that protected you from discomfort, but also from growth. Then J arrived, and suddenly, those walls didn't feel as strong. Those routines didn't feel as satisfying. That comfort began to feel like a cage. That is not coincidence. That is divine disruption. You see, when God wants to elevate you, He doesn't always send peace first. He sends contrast. He sends a mirror. He sends a person who reflects back to you the parts of yourself you've ignored, the truths you've avoided, the wounds you've hidden beneath distractions. J is that mirror. And what you see in that reflection may not always feel good. It may confuse you. It may frustrate you. It may even hurt you. But it is revealing something that was always there. Think about how you felt before J entered your life. Think about your beliefs, your boundaries, your emotional patterns. Now look at how those things have been challenged. Look at how your patience has been tested, how your expectations have been shaken, how your heart has been stretched beyond what felt comfortable. That is not random. That is transformation in motion. Chosen one, you are not being punished. You are being prepared. J was sent to trigger a shift within you, not to break you, but to expose what is still fragile inside you, not to confuse you, but to force you to seek clarity within yourself, not to control your path, but to redirect your awareness back to who you truly are becoming. Because somewhere along your journey, you started settling for less than your true alignment. You started accepting energies, situations, and even versions of yourself that were beneath your potential. And instead of removing everything at once, God sent one person to initiate the awakening. That's how it works sometimes. One presence can carry 1,000 lessons. And you've been feeling it, haven't you? That inner tension. That pull between what you used to accept and what you can no longer tolerate. That quiet voice inside you questioning things you once ignored. That is your spirit responding. That is your higher self waking up. And J is the catalyst, not the destination. Do not confuse the messenger with the mission, because this is where many chosen ones get lost. They become so focused on the person that they forget the purpose. They try to hold on, to control, to define something that was never meant to be permanent in the way they imagined. And in doing so, they miss the deeper transformation that is trying to take place within them. J was not sent to complete your story. J was sent to change your direction. There is something in you that needed to evolve. Your mindset, your standards, your emotional awareness, your spiritual alignment. And without this encounter, you might have continued in the same cycles, repeating the same patterns, attracting the same outcomes. But now something is different. Now you see more, you feel more, you question more. That is growth, even if it feels uncomfortable. Chosen one, growth rarely arrives wrapped in comfort. It arrives wrapped in confusion, in emotional intensity, in moments that force you to confront yourself. And that's exactly what this connection with J has done. It has forced you to look within, to ask yourself difficult questions, to examine your boundaries, your values, your expectations, your fears. Why did this affect me so deeply? Why did I react the way I did? What is this trying to show me about myself? These are not random questions. These are the questions of transformation. And the answers are not found in J, they are found within you. Because at the end of the day, the real change was never about them. It was always about you, about who you are becoming, about what you are ready to release, about what you are ready to step into. You are being called to rise, but rising requires letting go of old emotional patterns, letting go of attachments that no longer serve your growth, letting go of the need to control outcomes or define every connection, letting go of the version of yourself that was comfortable staying the same. And yes, that can feel like loss. It can feel like confusion. It can feel like something is being taken from you. But in reality, something is being revealed to you. A higher version of yourself. Chosen one. You cannot step into your next level while holding on to everything from your past. And sometimes, the only way to realize that is through an encounter that shakes you. J shook you. Not because they were meant to stay forever, but because they were meant to wake you up. And now that you are awake, the question is no longer about them. The question is about you. What are you going to do with what you've learned? Are you going to return to old patterns, pretending nothing changed? Or are you going to honor this transformation and step into a new level of awareness? Because once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you feel, you cannot unfeel. Once you awaken, you cannot go back to sleep. That is the responsibility of being chosen. You are not here to live on autopilot. You are not here to repeat cycles unconsciously. You are here to evolve, to grow, to align with something greater than your past self. And every experience, every connection, every person, especially the ones that challenge you, are part of that process. So do not resent J. Do not idolize J. Understand J. Understand the role they played. Understand the shift they triggered. Understand the reflection they provided. And then turn your focus inward. Because the real transformation is happening within you, not around you. You are becoming more aware, more discerning, more aligned with your truth. And that is not something to fear. That is something to embrace. Even if it feels uncertain, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels like everything is changing. Because everything is changing, and that is exactly what was meant to happen. Because when God begins a change within you, He does not do it halfway. He does not awaken you just to leave you where you were. He begins a process, and that process will continue whether you resist it or surrender to it. And right now, chosen one, you are standing in the middle of that process. You can feel it in your thoughts that no longer settle the way they used to. You can feel it in your emotions that rise stronger than before. You can feel it in the way your intuition keeps whispering, even when you try to silence it. This is what transformation feels like when it is real. It does not ask for your permission. It demands your attention. And the presence of J was the spark that lit that fire inside you, not the fire that destroys, but the fire that refines. The kind of fire that burns away illusions, burns away denial, burns away the parts of you that were built on fear instead of truth. You may have thought you were losing control, but what was really happening is that you were losing attachment to what was never meant to define you in the first place. Chosen one. There is a difference between connection and assignment. Not everyone you feel deeply connected to is meant to walk with you forever. Some are assigned to you for a season, for a lesson, for a specific moment of growth. And when their role is fulfilled, the energy shifts. That shift is not rejection, it is redirection. But many chosen ones misunderstand this moment. They try to hold on tighter, thinking that intensity means permanence. They confuse emotional depth with divine intention. But divine intention is not always about keeping something. It is often about changing something. J was assigned to you at a precise moment in your life when you were ready, whether you realized it or not, to confront a deeper truth about yourself. And that truth could not have been revealed in comfort. It required friction. It required emotional activation. It required a presence that would stir something inside you so strongly that you could no longer ignore it. That is why this feels so powerful, because it is not surface level. It is not casual. It is not something you can easily explain or dismiss. It reached into a deeper part of you, a part that had been quiet for too long. And once that part was touched, everything else began to shift. Your awareness expanded. You started noticing patterns you once overlooked. You started questioning behaviors you once accepted. You started recognizing the difference between what you truly deserve and what you had been tolerating. That awareness is a gift, even if it came wrapped in confusion. Chosen one, confusion is often the doorway to clarity. It breaks your assumptions. It forces you to rethink. It pushes you out of autopilot and into consciousness. And that is exactly what has happened to you. You are no longer moving through life blindly. You are starting to see with intention. You are starting to feel with depth. You are starting to understand that every experience carries meaning, especially the ones that shake you. And yet, there is still a part of you that wants answers from J. A part of you that wants closure, explanation, reassurance. That is natural. But understand this: closure is not something you receive, it is something you create. If you wait for someone else to explain your growth, you will remain stuck in their silence. Your power is in your ability to interpret your own experience. To take what happened, what you felt, what was revealed, and turn it into understanding that elevates you instead of trapping you. That is the shift from emotional dependence to spiritual awareness. And this is where your transformation deepens, because now it is no longer about what J did or didn't do. It is about what you have seen within yourself as a result of their presence. It is about the boundaries you now recognize you need. It is about the standards you now realize you must uphold. It is about the emotional patterns you can no longer ignore. This is the work. This is the change. And it is not easy, because growth asks you to be honest with yourself in ways that comfort never required. It asks you to admit where you settled, where you ignored your intuition, where you allowed fear, loneliness, or habit to guide your choices instead of alignment. But do not judge yourself for that. You were operating at the level of awareness you had at the time. Now, that awareness has expanded, and with expanded awareness comes responsibility. Responsibility to choose differently. Responsibility to honor your growth. Responsibility to stop betraying yourself just to maintain temporary comfort. Chosen one, you are no longer the version of yourself you were before. J. That version has already begun to dissolve. And even if part of you misses the simplicity of that old state, you cannot go back. Because you have seen too much. You have felt too much. You have awakened too much. This is the point where many try to retreat. They try to distract themselves, to numb the discomfort, to return to familiar patterns, just to avoid the uncertainty of growth. But that path will only create more tension within you, because your spirit now knows better. And when your spirit knows better, it will not allow you to settle the same way again. That inner discomfort you feel when you try to ignore your growth, that is your alignment calling you forward. It is not punishment. It is guidance. Chosen one, you are being guided toward a higher standard of living, thinking, and being. And that guidance is not always gentle. Sometimes it is firm. Sometimes it disrupts your plans. Sometimes it removes what you thought you wanted in order to give you what you actually need. And J was part of that divine strategy. Not to give you everything, but to show you something. Something about your worth. Something about your emotional depth. Something about your capacity to love, to feel, to connect. Something about the areas where you still needed to grow. And now that you have seen those things, the next step is integration. Integration means you do not just understand the lesson, you embody it. You begin to make choices that reflect your new awareness. You begin to set boundaries that protect your growth. You begin to walk away from what no longer aligns, even if it feels difficult. You begin to trust your intuition more than external validation. This is how transformation becomes reality. Not through words, but through action. And action does not always mean doing something dramatic. Sometimes it means choosing peace over chaos. Sometimes it means choosing self-respect over temporary connection. Sometimes it means choosing patience over impulsive reactions. These small choices are what build your new foundation. Chosen one, you are rebuilding yourself from the inside out. And that process takes time. It takes patience. It takes moments of uncertainty, where you question if you are doing the right thing. But as long as you are moving in alignment with your truth, you are on the right path. Do not rush this. Do not force clarity before it is ready. Allow yourself to feel, to reflect, to understand, because every layer of this experience is revealing something deeper. Even the silence, even the distance, even the unanswered questions. All of it is part of the process. And if you look closely, you will begin to see that what once felt like confusion is slowly turning into understanding. What once felt like emotional chaos is slowly turning into clarity. What once felt like attachment is slowly turning into awareness. This is the shift. You are moving from reacting to understanding, from seeking externally to recognizing internally, from needing answers to becoming the answer. And that is where your power truly lies. Chosen one, you were never meant to be defined by a single person or a single experience. You are meant to grow through them, to evolve because of them, to become more aligned with your true self as a result of them. And J was simply the beginning of that shift. Not the end of your story, but the start of your awakening. And as you continue on this path, you will begin to notice something else changing within you. Your standards will rise. What you once tolerated will no longer feel acceptable. What you once chased will no longer feel fulfilling. What once confused you will begin to make sense. And what once held power over you will begin to lose its grip. This is what happens when you grow. You outgrow. You outgrow old patterns. You outgrow misaligned connections. You outgrow the version of yourself that did not yet know its worth. And while that can feel like loss at first, it is actually expansion. Because every time you outgrow something, you make space for something better aligned with who you are becoming. But that space requires courage. Courage to release. Courage to trust. Courage to move forward without needing to have everything figured out. Chosen one, you do not need all the answers right now. You only need to honor what you already know. You know what felt right. You know what felt wrong. You know what triggered you. You know what awakened you. Trust that. because that inner knowing is your compass, and it will guide you far more accurately than any external explanation ever could. So instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Because this was not random. This was preparation. Preparation for a higher level of awareness. Preparation for deeper alignment. Preparation for connections that match the version of you that is emerging now, not the version you used to be. And that version of you is stronger, wiser, more aware, more aligned. You may still be in the process of becoming them, but they are already within you. They were activated the moment J entered your life. And now, it is up to you to continue that activation, to keep growing, to keep reflecting, to keep choosing alignment over comfort. Because the change has already begun, and it is not going to stop. And as this change continues to unfold within you, chosen one, you will begin to notice something even deeper. Your attachment to the outcome will start to fade, and your connection to your purpose will start to strengthen. What once felt like urgency will become patience. What once felt like confusion will become quiet understanding. And what once felt like emotional dependence will transform into inner stability. This is how you know the transformation is real, because you are no longer being controlled by what happened. You are being shaped by what you learned. There will come a moment where you think about J, and instead of feeling overwhelmed, you will feel aware. You will see the role they played without needing to relive the emotions that once consumed you. You will recognize the timing, the lessons, the shift, and you will understand that it all served a purpose greater than what you initially believed. That moment is not the loss of connection. It is the completion of its purpose. And in that completion, you step fully into your power. Chosen one, you were never meant to chase clarity outside of yourself. You were meant to become so aligned within that clarity finds you naturally. And this experience, every emotion, every question, every realization, was guiding you back to that alignment. You are not the same anymore. You think differently. You feel differently. You see differently. And because of that, you will choose differently. That is the real change. Not what Jay did, not what they said, not what happened between you, but what shifted within you because of it. That shift is yours. That growth is yours. That awareness is yours. And no one can take that from you. So as you move forward, do not carry confusion. Carry wisdom. Do not carry attachment. Carry awareness. Do not carry questions. Carry understanding. Because everything you needed to receive from this encounter has already been planted within you. And now, your only responsibility is to grow into it.